Hi guys, welcome back. This week we're doing something a little different. I am still thinking muskie in my area, but I do hit up a few trout during this time of year too. So I'm going with my two favorite trout flies for this time of year. One is a modified zebra midge that I use, and the other is just a simple black midge pattern dry fly. It's the only hatch you'll see this time of year, so I love using it. Trout aren't eating big a lot of times. Their main diet is these little chiromitid, little midges, things like that during the winter, and 95% of it is subaquatic. It's in the it's down on the bottom. They're low. They're eating slow. They're eating small. They don't need as much energy. The water's cold. Their metabolism's down. I go with this black little midge dry fly because it's about the only hatch you see this time of year, and they're small. They're usually 18 or lower, 16 lower. They're not very big, but it makes for a very simple little pattern. So we'll get started on that and we'll go from there. Okay guys, here's the two patterns that I'm talking about. The first is the little zebra midge in the front. It's very simple. It's literally just a bead, thread, and some wire wraps. I'm going to tie this one on like a size 14 hook, just to make it a little bit bigger, easier to see. But I normally keep these 18 to 22 down to I've even tied them into 24 when I'm going really small. They're not very heavy, so a lot of times I'll double these up, maybe with a stonefly nymph down, as a little heavier to get them down a little bit deeper, because you're not able to add a lot of weight. Even if you use a tungsten bead, it's not going to sink real fast just because it is so small. Put it on like a 4X tippet. The other is the midge dry fly. It is very simple. It's the hackle. It's a little bit of dubbing for a body. It's a gold wire, and then hackle tail. I'm going to go through both of these today. So it's going to be a little bit, videos a little bit in length, but not too bad because they're quick. They're easy. They work all winter long everywhere. So good for trout, good for bluegill, good for, I've even caught smallmouth bass on them, because these fish aren't eating big meals. They don't need as much. Thanks guys. Normally would use for these, I am then going to just start my thread right behind the bead. Just get a little bit of going there. Get my tag end off. Next, I'm going to take some small silver wire, insert it into the back of the bead just to kind of help hold it there a little bit better, and then start tying it in. And I'm going to just make the thread overlap a little bit as you're bringing it back, and I'm going to go all the way around into the curve. So right there, and then I'm just going to start working this thread back and forth. Just building up that body. These are pretty universal in shape all the way through, so you're not really going to worry about making it thicker at one end or the other. Just keep this up until you get to your desired thickness. Now, I'm making sure it's kind of all universal in shape. There we go. Then you just take your wire, which is, I've matched it with the same color as the head of this bead, with the bead head here. I'm just going to work it forward. This is just the same as a basic zebra midge. Make a few wraps here, pull the wire towards the front, a couple more wraps to kind of help lock it into place. There we go. Now next, I'm just going to put a little flash in the top of this. All I'm going to do is cut off a clump of this here. Not a lot needed, just enough to give the wing a little, give it a little bit of appearance here. Just tie that in, a few quick wraps, kind of trim it all off even. And you can make that as thick as you want. I just like a little bit on there just to give it a little bit of something there. Stroke them back out of the way. And then from here, all you're going to do is just tie them off. Just a few quick wraps. There we go. And that's all it takes for this little extra special zebra midge that I use during the winter. Makes for a quick little tie. They work great everywhere. Trout and bluegill, I know, love them. I've even caught a few smallmouth on them. Okay, second half of my winter fishing for trout is done with a very simple dry fly. Doesn't take much for it. This is a size 16 hook. And you don't see this hatch every day or even that often, but it's the only one you're probably going to see in the winter. It's just a simple little midge, and I just tie a very standard small fly for this. Now all I'm going to take is a piece of hackle here, and I'm just going to trim off a few fibers for a small tail on it. Don't take many, just it may be about 8 little fibers for it, and I'm just going to put that in there first. Like I said, this is just a very simple tail pattern, tail on there, just to kind of help it, give it a little more length, things like that. Next, I'll take a small gold wire, and I'm going to tie it in there. And actually wrap this pretty well up the length of the body and back. Just, it gives me a little more thickness to the body this way as well. Next, I'm just going to get a little bit of black. Well, thread just broke on me because I wasn't paying close enough attention. So. So we start a thread here. Going back over, making sure it's tied down just a little bit to help kind of hold that all together. Get that out of there. Pull this wire back out. Now, get back here to the very end, right before the tail. Then we get back to our black dubbing. You don't need a lot. It's a very small clump. Only about that much, really. I'm just going to work in a small dubbing noodle here on the thread. Get it up there. Just kind of start wrapping it around. And just adding a little bit more as you need it. Okay. Next, just going to take the wire wrap, I'm going to counter wrap back over the dubbing just to kind of help make it a little more durable. Snip it off a little close. Make sure it's down out of the way. There we go. Next, just going to get a small, doesn't have to be that big, piece of hackle. Don't need very long fibers on this. Pull this back a little bit, always take those feathers and I kind of work it to help open it up. I'm just going to kind of tie it in. A few quick wraps there. Grab my hackle pliers, snap them on. Start making a few wraps around. Put this down out of the way a little bit more. All I'm doing is kind of just stroke the hackle to the back here. It's kind of help keep back towards it to kind of help it make it stand up a little bit. And make a couple of quick wraps here to lock that feather down. One in front, two in front. That'll lock it in place. And trim that out. I then kind of stroke everything back so nothing is in front of where my wraps are. Just make a couple of quick ones. Okay. And we'll tie it off with our whip finisher here. Creating a small black head on it. Now then always take on these. I just take a little nail hardener, like a Sally Hard's nail kind of thing. Just kind of dab just a little bit right there, just to kind of protect that head. We'll kind of straighten up the hackles here a little bit, because where I was pushing them back. And there you have my go-to dry fly for most of my winter fishing. Same as the little modified zebra midge. This is great. I've, for trout all the way up through, I use this a lot all the way up through March here in Kentucky, in the area in West Virginia, the areas where I'm going fishing, just because this is a go-to. This is the midge. It's about the only thing you're going to have having a hatch off, and the good thing is it's usually later in the day, after the water warms up a little bit, after the sun gets up a little bit, and you're going to see these go through most of the winter. So there you have it. Alright guys, I got those finished up. As you can see, they're pretty quick, pretty simple, not much to them there at all. I love this fly all winter long for trout. A zebra midge is a go-to anywhere because there's always chiromids in the water. I keep a whole box full of these things. Love every one of them. They work great. I don't know if there's much more you can do than just use a zebra midge of some style. It's going to work for you the entire time. Please like, subscribe, follow me on my other accounts, wherever you can find them, either on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Make sure you like and follow there. Find me on TikTok. This year you're going to be able to see me at 2 shows. The first is the Maggie Valley Fly Fishing Festival in Maggie Valley, North Carolina on the weekend of May 24th. It's a 2-day show. Hope to see everybody there. If you can't make it to that one, you can always going to be able to see me at the Appalachian Fly Fishing Festival in Thomas, West Virginia. This year, that is happening the following weekend, which will put you right around June 1st. I'll have pictures up showing when they're going to be. These are 2 great events, and really want to keep them going and keep them getting bigger, because we need more of these out there, because fly fishing is too good of a thing not to be getting everybody interested. Thank you guys. See you later. Get out there and catch them.